Hello everybody, JGC Anime here, and welcome back to another video where today I'm going to be talking about my review on No Game No Life, a series that when I watched it was really expecting like a whole video game major aspect, but it turns out no, it actually has way more than that. Okay, so basically a quick story summary of the show is the main characters, Sora and I think it's Shiro, both get sent to another world by a god figure, and while I can show them on screen, I probably won't show him on screen unless I'm absolutely interested in doing it, but it's kind of hard to gather all these photos, but I'll share Shiro and Sora's pictures there so you can see those. And after this gaming god who sends them to this new world, like once he sends them into it, they meet with this new person called Steph, where we also meet a bunch of other new casting, like the whole cast of characters, and they go on a bunch of crazy adventures with Sora and Shiro both being really good at games. And that's one of the more basic aspects of them. They're really good at it, and it's a lot of fun. So what I like about this show is definitely its characters. While there's also a lot of fan service, which at this point I've seen so much of it that I actually feel nothing when seeing it almost all the time. And the only time I react is if I'm like doing a reaction video or recording myself watching it. That's the only time I'll pretend to be uncomfortable, but I'm kind of used to it at this point. But I do like a lot of the characters in the show, and I think the story is actually really good. I enjoy a lot of the whole setting, the atmosphere, and the animation looks so cool. The art style is really intriguing, and I have a lot of fun with it. And I also think that a lot of its characters are great too. I really don't like the fact of how they underuse Steph. Like she's just treated like dirt, and that just kind of upsets me because she's a really fun character. So I don't know fully about what to say other than I think it's a really good show. I think its characters are great, the story is really good, and the whole atmosphere is just really good. One thing I have to dislike about this show is definitely that it freaking never got a season 2. Because reasons. Apparently fans of the series have been begging for a season 2 for a while now, and there is still no season 2. Which is disappointing because I would love to see more of this. And through spoiler-free thoughts, I'd have to say I enjoyed it a lot. There were some characters I didn't know how to feel about, like Jibril, if that's what her name is. I can't really remember. There are characters like her who generally I'm on the fence about, like not sure how to react to them. And one thing I can definitely say about the show is that it's really pushing its limits. Like, as I said, there is a lot of fan service in this show, and there's even a point in it that I'll explain about in the spoiler section that really just made me think, what? Why? Why? What? But, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff in this show, lots of great characters and story, and the whole world is just a lot of fun. So, that's about all I could say without spoiling too much that I really enjoyed about the show. So, I'm gonna enter the spoiler section now. Here's a timestamp to when the spoiler section ends. And yeah, I'm gonna count down from 5. If you're still here after that, you can listen to the spoiler section. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the first spoiler thing I mentioned is about how there's a lot of fan service, and there's this one fan service that really takes advantage of it. It's this one scene in one of the later episodes where Sora and Shiro both, and Steph as well, because she's part of the group after that point, after a bunch of fan service of Steph, we meet Jibril for the first time, and they decide to play a game against her. And there's this beach scene, and basically they make all the female characters naked, but cover up the parts that normally people could see. And at that point, I was just like, what is this game? Can I stop now, please? I want to go home. And that was probably one of the few episodes of the show that actually made me uncomfortable. Like, as I said before, I know I said that I wasn't really affected too much by it now, but Even that was back when I was still kind of new to the whole fan service thing. I first saw it and grew uncomfortable, and while I just kind of accept it now, it was very uncomfortable at the time, and I thought it was funny but also weird. It was really weird, to say the least. And the later episodes with the cat girl, well, I was thinking of the lady who was a fox, but the cat girl in it, she's fine, but I don't know, just that later arc wasn't as interesting as the first part of the story. And it was still a good story. Like, there are no bad stories in this show. There are some that are not as entertaining as others, but there hasn't been a bad story so far. Even though I wasn't a big fan of the movie, which if people want me to do a review on the movie, I can do that. You'll have to vote for it though on the JG Crafter polls, because that's where currently the votes for JGC Anime are being held. There's really not that much to do in that is bad per se. Like, there are a lot of video game references and stuff like that from time to time, and there's a lot of different gaming references. And when they play chess, when Sora and this other girl, I can't remember her name, play chess, it is so freaking awesome and hilarious at the same time. Then this goes from chess to some kind of like battleship to somehow some kind of major battle I didn't understand. It was so confusing and yet so funny and great. And once I actually found the No Game No Life in 7 minutes video, that just made it even better because it was just so much fun. And I'm actually kind of disappointed the series doesn't have a season 2. It's really entertaining and I do have a lot of fun watching it. Almost all the characters are likable, and while there are some characters who I wish we expanded more upon, some I wish were more, like, interesting, and but still really good. Like the final story, while I admit it wasn't as strong as some parts of the story, what I loved was how I wasn't expecting certain things. Like before with the battle ending where it looked like Sora and Shiro were about to lose, I was just like, holy crap, what the heck, are they actually gonna lose? And then out of nowhere, Steph just comes in, like, boom, I won. My first time ever actually helping. That was awesome. I love that. And while I admit there are also a lot of strange parts to the show, some of the character designs can be a bit off-putting, there's still a lot of fun. And if I had to say what my favorite story from the season of the show is, it'd probably have to be the small story where Sora goes off and plays a game against this other girl where everyone immediately forgets about his existence and everything else. And then Shiro tries to help him, and it's just so interesting. It is hard to tell who the main character is, though, because I know that Sora is like a main focus, but Shiro gets some attention too, and the fact that there was an entire episode dedicated to her kind of shows that. I wish that we could learn more about them than just their backstories, and we learned a lot about Shiro and Sora in this season as well. More Shiro than Sora, but they were both still great characters. Again, I think Steph's a great character as well, and Jibril is still on the fence for me. But the story, as I said before, but like a million times, why am I saying this so much? The story's great. I really liked it. There were a lot of great moments, great parts. Just the whole series as a whole was really good, and I really did enjoy it. Well, I guess we're at the conclusion. So, if I'd have to say in this conclusion something, I thought the series was great. I thought it was a blast, it was a lot of fun, and overall, while the fan service at first took some time to get used to, it was still an interesting and fun series. I really enjoyed its characters and world, and I really wish this thing got a freaking season 2. It's so good. But we don't really get to decide that. So I rate this anime 8 out of 10. There are a few things that make it kind of go down a little bit, but overall it still is pretty fun. That's all I can really say though, it's just fun. I'd recommend a watch if you're above 13, because those under it will not be able to take it, but yeah, it's a good series, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'm JGC Anime, and thank you for listening to my review, and I shall see you all around. Peace!